You've been playing this role for 17 years. You've molded, you've crafted. You basically can walk into a room, say your lines, and then leave. But after seeing this film here, it's a completely different take, and I love this version of Professor Xavier. So, what did you have to do to prepare to be, out of the box with this character?
Well, the preparation for Charles Xavier and Logan has been going on for many years. I had a pastry just before you arrived.
We've heard the pastry story outside.
Very good one, too. So the foundation was already laid for this. And then what the screenplay gave me was the opportunity to explode that foundation, to blow it up. And, what actor doesn't love having that opportunity? So it was fun in every possible way. And from the very beginning, James Mangold and I, our director, agreed that we would explode it as much as was reasonably possible, push it into extremes whenever we could.
And I can sense that.
And this is what we came up with.
Okay, speaking of your 17 years, you've also worked with Hugh Jackman when he first came onto the Hollywood scene. So this X-Men was like his big, first gig. So comparing your first time working with him as a newbie compared to, doing your last scenes with him now as a veteran, I guess you can say, how would you compare those two experiences?
Essentially, the experiences are not different from encountering Hugh. Actually, we encountered him before he was cast on the movie because he came on the set in Toronto one day to do a screen test and to meet Bryan Singer. And when he'd done the screen test, he came back to where all the X-Men were sitting around without a Wolverine and said, "Well, you guys are never going to see me again." And well, luckily he was so wrong. And we were all so delighted. The grand thing, it is the grand thing about this, is that Hugh and I have been preparing for this movie for 17 years because not only the relationship between Charles and Logan has become so complex and intense over those years, but the relationship between Patrick and Hugh has grown and grown with affection and admiration. So we were just ready to go. There was no difficulty about it.
Yeah, I could sense that, like, especially with this film, just the way you guys were delivering those characters, I can really sense that you guys were really putting your all into this film, and you really wanted to be the best that you could. Yeah. Speaking of which, as far as you as Professor Xavier, before you even took on the role, when you thought Professor Xavier, you only thought about the comic books. Now, when you think Professor Xavier, Sir Patrick Stewart comes before the cartoons, before the comic books. So how do you like receiving that kind of attention?
Oh, I don't think about that very much, but rather I reflect on my whole career, ranging from weekly rep in the United Kingdom to my time with the Royal Shakespeare Company and Star Trek, and feel so blessed that I've had such a diverse career.
Would you ever see yourself, I mean, I know what happens going forward, but let's say there needs to be a flashback done and they need to call you in to do something here or there. Would you still be open to possibly?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, indeed, I would. There has been a suggestion that maybe I should actually take over the role of Logan, which I find attractive, but, I have too much respect for Hugh to try to step into his shoes.
Also, what I can sense with your delivery in the Logan film is I can sense a little bit of the blunt talk character, just a little bit. I could be wrong, but that's what I was getting, especially in the bathroom scene when.
Oh yeah, yeah. I can do that. Well, I stepped onto the set of Logan less than 48 hours after I'd stepped off the set of Blunt Talk. So if there was some elements of Walter Blunt still hanging around Charles Xavier, it's not surprising.
There was. That's one of the reasons why I just kept laughing immediately, because sometimes I would have flashbacks from the show, and I'm like, it just gave it that extra oomph, Well, I do thank you for your time and speaking with me here. And our web series, Professor Xavier, wants to say hello. Oh. And all of us here, we love it, and we love what you do. So,
thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. so much.